Put these headphones on when I need them. Okay, so let's see if everything's working here. I see Facebook. Let me mute Facebook. Okay, so there is Restream. Really not sure. Let's just test this. So what happens when you change titles on these things? This might be a second. Hey, David. Just making sure this works. I'm going to start in a second. Oh, yep. Yay. All right. Restream is working. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so... Well, let's see if that sends to here. Now, that is the real question. Was that going to send from you saying that to the relay? I bet you it won't, but, you know, who knows? Maybe it will. Oh, yay! Okay. Interesting. Because they had like a chart. Oh, man, I don't know how to get to it. Anyway. Oh, yeah, I don't need to record. Why am I hitting the wrong button here? Yeah, thanks, David. Yeah, it seems to be working. That is interesting. Okay, so I need to start recording on this. There we go. Okay, so welcome to Dropping In at Pipeline Audio. This is number 60, and I'm calling it the PACE of JUCE. Oh, how clever, right? First of all, I hope you guys are okay wherever you are, because this is still some... I mean, there's been some promising news in the last week, I guess, and in America, I think some of you guys have gotten some stimulus checks to buy new plugins with or whatever. You know, what else are you going to do? Sitting at home. But seems like we lost a lot of people, which is kind of crazy. But it also seems like maybe we aren't losing as many people as we thought, which is very good. So let's see. The first thing, you know, I use Restream to send to all these different Facebook and Periscope and YouTube and whatever, Twitch, I think. And I'm always having trouble getting chats from one place to another. So if somebody types from YouTube, I don't always see it. But I think I have this working now. One of the, you know, Restream's tech support is always really good. You know, they always, like right away, they come on and help you. And one, I forget the name of the girl who was helping me there, but she put up a chart that showed me which chats can send and which chats can receive. And that made it handier. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the Restream chat up so that I can see it, and so I won't miss it when you guys say something. And but you know, so far real good on Restream. I really like it. I'm paying for the $20 a month service. I know I probably shouldn't, but it lets me streamcast or whatever to Facebook Business. So that makes it handy for me. Let's see. So we have... Okay. So we have some serious intuition updates on our compressor at AIX DSP. This is from a lot of suggestions from a lot of you guys. So actually, thanks a lot for that. So let me just come to pull up a... I'm going to put my headphones on. Sorry, hold on. Okay, so first of all, I don't think I'm going to be able to show this in this chat. Hold on, so let me scale this a little bit. It's way better beat sync display. and it's a drop down style now, so pretty handy, right? See, it's ending up just where you expect if it's an oscilloscope, which is what I wanted in the very first place. So this will be way easier to use now with the beat sync display. It'll act a lot like the edge syncing, edge triggering on a regular oscilloscope back in the day. There's auto gain compensation, so I'm gonna turn down the threshold. A lot better waveform displays and stuff too as well. Let's see. So yeah, it's auto gain compensation. So thank you, Warren Hewitt and Glenn Fricker. You guys had some good suggestions there. That's Warren Hewitt. You know, he's got the Produce Like a Pro channel on YouTube, and Glenn Fricker, of course, Spectre Sound Studios, Spectre Media Group, whatever it is. He's the guy who does the stupid text from musicians to engineers and has tons of educational stuff on YouTube. So let's see. The other thing, I know it's no big deal, but there's a makeup gain here, and it's before the display control. So you see that? So red is what's coming in, and blue is what's coming out. I really wanted to make it like an oscilloscope where you could see them both at the same time, but I was like, hey, just superimpose them against each other. It'll be a little bit even more convenient to use. So the blue is the output, so you can actually see what the compressor is doing to it. In fact, let me crank some of this down. So make some of that distorted kind of. So you see the red is the original, so you can see the blue is knocked off the peaks. But the makeup gain is actually before this display. So I'm going to turn it back up, and you can see. So if I put it back to about the same RMS value, see how much fatter everything's going to be. And if I actually put it to the same peak value, right? So you also have a wet-dry control here. Even though, I'm going to get it for this. But I'm pretty convinced that most parallel compression talk that you see in forums and stuff, like as soon as somebody does any kind of compression, you see, ooh, make it parallel. I'm really convinced that most of that is Me Too talk from hipster beardos trying to one-up each other. I can't prove it, but I think that's true. And even though I say that and have a little bit dismissively about parallel compression in some lots of cases, I think I was involved in, well, I know I was involved in, I think it was the very first parallel compressor out there. I think I meant to call it New York compressor. It was with Smart Electronics, MJ, you know, I think it was with Smart Electronics. Malcolm Jacobson, I think is his name, MJ. So I have a long history with parallel compression, and maybe Recomp was the next one. So, you know, I like the stuff. I just see so many beardos talking about it all the time. Like if you're not doing parallel compression, you're doing it wrong, you know. Hey, parallel compression is very handy sometimes for some things. Doesn't have to be every 5 seconds, and you know what I mean. So the other thing is, okay, and so I did a short video the other day where I plugged the guitar in just to check this out, and I was amazed that it actually turned out to be a decent amp sim by putting a speaker cabinet impulse after it. But we have a limiter now, so I'm going to turn this down so you don't die here. To turn the drums back on, and so if I'm off, it'll just keep going, whatever. It's just gonna overload and whatever. If I turn on this hard limiter right here, so it's gonna clip it. I think we got the intersample peaks thing worked out, so it should clamp it to -0-ish. so that's the hard limiter. We have a soft limiter. I could play you some of the anti-aliasing tests, but I think, like you would figure, the soft limiter doesn't have too bad of aliasing. The hard limiter kind of does. We could fix that possibly. I'll deal with that if you guys really think it's a big deal. But here's the soft limiter. Of course, you're going to have to play with this to really hear what this does. But the crazy thing was, I was like, yeah, I'll show you what the limiter's really doing. And so I plugged a guitar in. And this is just after telling one of the partners that we're not in the business of making amp sims. That's for our friends. And then it sounded like a real amp sim. So weird. So I just put two of these things in order. Put one hard clipper and then one soft clipper. You could do the same kind of clipping. Let me show you. Because now this gain reduction is actually working a little bit better. Watch this. So I'll turn this off. So if you were to turn the RMS down to peak, why did I just lose my? That was interesting. If you turn the RMS down to peak and the attack to 0 and release to 0, you should be able to run a clipper here, right? And if you're really interested here, let's just do this. Oh man, I'm sorry for your ears for this, but let's just do this, right? I'll turn this down. Sorry, I know this is annoying as hell. So I'm just going to do this up pretty high. Okay. There, you hear the aliasing now? Right at the top. That's that spaceship taking off sound. Okay, I think you hear that there. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. So I'm gonna push. Oh boy, I'm gonna push this into the hard clipper. Okay. I'm gonna turn this down again. Sorry, I know this is awful, but you know it's important to hear this kind of stuff to understand it. Okay, so that's that spaceship taking off thing. I'm gonna turn the soft limiter on. So see, it'll get you there too. So, but in any sensible use, I think you'd really have to go pathological to really hear the soft clipper one. But again, we could revisit that if you guys really want. And it seems like we should have more some anti-aliasing. I guess we could put some options in there for oversampling if you want to munch up your CPU and everything. I'll probably be happy to do that. We have some other projects to get done ahead of that, but that is some intuition stuff. So maybe I'll add a threshold to that later. I think that would be kind of cool. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Put a separate window for the limiter from the compressor, or maybe just to add the limiter information in. I'm not really sure. Like it'd be kind of tricky to get a second threshold line in there, I think, but maybe think of something. Let's see what else. Okay, I think that's it for intuition. So I'm gonna disarm this other track, and I'm gonna take these headphones off. Hey, okay. Yeah, I don't know how people have the headphones on the whole time when they're doing shows. That's painful. So same window if doable. I think so. You know, the drawing of the actual reduction that the clipper's doing would just be added to the compressor anyway, right? I just wonder, you know, like how would we do the threshold? I'm sure. Yeah, sorry, Mike Richardson. I know it's those test tones are brutal, man. Okay, so the other thing is, okay, Oh man, I don't even know if I want to talk about this. I know I'm a controversial figure, and I get in a lot of trouble. But let me just go here. So I'm gonna go to a page here. This is Juice, and the headline is, all right, if you haven't heard this yet, make sure you're sitting down. For a lot of you, you don't even know what this is about. It doesn't matter. I tell you, this could have a very big impact on you, no matter what you do. If you were just a musician or just an audio engineer and you're not a developer or whatever, you're still gonna get this. This has a very high potential to affect you, and it could be. There's some talk that this is good news. There's a lot of fear that this is very, very bad news. But we'll see. So I'm going to read it. Juice announces acquisition by PACE. Okay. Now, there's a lot of words you can say on YouTube or Facebook that will get you instantly demonetized or banned. Possibly your account will be deleted. In the audio forum world, PACE is almost one of those words. If you don't know, PACE is iLok. And that's another word. So there's a lot of 4-letter words going on here that tend to anger people a whole lot. So PACE bought Juice. This announcement can also be found on the Juice website. Blah, blah, blah. Roland, Jules. Let's see. If you don't know what iLok is, it's kind of it's like arguing over football teams. It's a copy protection system. A lot of people say they just will not buy plugins that have iLok on it. Period. There's some good reasons for that. I understand. Look, I want developers to be okay, and so I understand that their desire for copy protection. But sometimes iLok works well. There's a lot of people it works great for. To me, it's very inconvenient. There's a good chance that you're not going to be able to use the product you paid for. But at the same time, if it allows people to develop stuff they wouldn't have been able to develop, then I guess it's a good thing. But thinking that all of your favorite plugins... sorry, let me go back. Juice, if you don't know, is a framework that helps develop plugins and applications and stuff. To me, its strongest strength is that if you develop a Juice plugin, it could work for VST, it could work for AAX, it could work for audio units, it could work for the beautiful thing. It could also just become a standalone program, or it can work in standalone apps like on iOS and Android and stuff. I mean, there's some really cool parts about Juice. And for the most part, you could be iLocked or you could not. I am hoping that there's not some crazy, like all of a sudden we all got to do iLock just because we're running Juice. That could be ugly. And, oh boy, I don't even know if I should say it, but let's just say no matter how well coded iLock, PACE, whatever it is, it adds a potential problem layer to your software. I mean, there's worse copy protection schemes out there. I'm looking at you, Positive Grid. Please clean that thing up. But it's just one more thing that can go wrong. So Mike Richardson is saying, I like the iLock Cloud. Yes. So PACE actually has some other solutions that don't involve having a piece of hardware that you can walk by your computer accidentally and break off inside your USB port. So maybe. Anyway, Jules Store, this acquisition provides Juice the opportunity to grow further within an entirely developer-focused community, to execute on an ambitious roadmap and continue to serve the needs of the audio developer community. Now, that could be true. Jules is saying something here. I really don't know the ins and outs of this stuff, but I can just tell you what I've seen from somebody who is part of a development team for this kind of thing and has been for a very long time. Crazily, I find out that I've been doing this so long that some people who weren't yet born when I started this are using products I've worked on, which is kind of crazy to me. So I don't know what Rolly is. I guess it's the company that owns Juice. I don't know. This whole thing, the thing about Juice is it's always had this weird investment kind of feel for it. I've seen like business talks about Juice that mentioned it, which is just bizarro to me. I've seen these investors that are talking about it. I don't know. So, there's some long-standing issues in Juice, and I don't imagine. Like, I'm kind of scared. Like, we need. Man, I don't even know how to say this, but there's problems that we have to fix in Juice. I mean, there's a long-standing VST3 stuff, and I mean, Juice is kind of it, and we pay decently for this thing, and it has, Juice comes with a lot of really cool stuff, but it's not to say that it doesn't come with some significant overhead, and a kind of a feel to it that you can kind of tell when by the way it crashes, sorry to say, sometimes you can kind of tell that a plugin has been made in Juice. So yeah, it seems like, again, and I know I'm very cynical about this stuff. Lots of times it feels like the business of Juice for the longest time has been to sell tickets to ADC conferences, these audio developer things. And I know how important conferences are to all different kinds of industries and stuff, but man, we keep hearing stuff about that. And maybe it's just my personal bias, so don't take this out on anybody. And but that's what I see is that I see so much stuff about conferences, but so many things are waiting to get fixed for a long time. So there's this other thing called Soul that I guess Jules has been working on. I don't know if that's to replace Juice or if that's for doing something else. I really don't understand. I'd love to hear from you guys what exactly Soul is. But if all comes down to it, we've still got WDL, right? So there's iPlug 2 now, WDL, and you see these things, iPlug versus Juice, so Ollie's got I swear Ollie's been working in Juice though, but we do. Here's iPlug 2, so I'm going to go to GitHub. This is another framework. This was originally made by a lot of the Reaper guys. So it's I think in general it's probably a lot more stable. Sorry. It's not as it's nowhere near as comprehensive. But there was stuff that was going to where it was also doing iOS apps, I think, and I think it could do Android apps. So, I mean, that was a big thing for me. I don't remember if you guys remember a couple of years ago when I was really exploring the mobile guitar stuff and being able to move between desktop and mobile, the iPads and stuff was pretty important to me. So that's really why one of the reasons I really like Juice. But like I said, iOS can kind of do this. I mean, iPlug, WDL. Let's see. The original version of iPlug was developed by John Schwartz, a.k.a. Schwa, and released in 2008 as part of Kako's WDL library. iPlug 2 2018 is a substantial reworking that brings multiple vector graphics backends, including GPU accelerated options, high DPI scaling, a better approach to concurrency, support for distributed plugin formats and compiling to WebAssembly via EM scripting. I don't know what any of this, among many other things. iPlug 2 targets the VST2, VST3, Audio Units V2, Audio Units V3, and AAX native, and the Web Audio Module plugin APIs. It can also produce standalone Win32 macOS apps with audio and MIDI I/O, as well as the Reaper extensions. I don't see mentioned in their iOS or Android, but I think there's probably a way. So if worst comes to worst, guys, we may be going back to WDL. A lot of us may be, or something else. So there's a couple different forks. I'm not sure if that still exists, if iPlug 2 has different forks. But there was an Ollie, I think Ollie Larkin, and a tail version. WDL tail versus OL. Let's see. Yeah, you can see this stuff on, if you go and search for it. Just type in WDL iPlug, and you'll see it. So there's something else still at the Juice website. All that said, we see announcing Juice 6. Juice 6 lands in 2020 with new and improved features. So what I want to see, CMake support, I don't know what that is. Producer no longer requires a Rolly account. All analytics has been removed. I don't know, some Linux stuff. I don't know what web views is, but allows you to mix and match C++ and modern browser-based rendering in your software. Okay. Run headless on Linux. DSP building blocks. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff I get interested in. Delay line, interpolators, compressor, limiter, ballistic filter, panner, chorus, dry wet mixer, noise gate phaser. These are all things you could do before, but it says using these components, developers can perform common audio processing tasks quickly and build rich, complex effects by combining multiple blocks. The new improved DSP module allows developers to try out new ideas rapidly and decreases time to market. That's cool. I'm sure most of you guys don't even care. You already built your own, but this is awesome to me. Support for metal shaders. Better handling of VST3 MIDI CC messages. This is a big fat one. Okay, am I allowed to say fat anymore? VST3 has sucked, right? How many times we talk about how we are forced by the Berg to use VST3 instead of VST2. And VST3 just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Ironically, it doesn't work in the Berg's own stuff, in Cube, Bass, and Nuendo. It barely works if it, I'll just say it doesn't work. It has a whole bunch of weird graphics issues, performance problems, crashing, compared to VST2 in the same code base, in the same apps. Kind of crazily, it does work pretty well in Reaper, but even then, MIDI doesn't work for the most part. And Amplitude, I don't know if they're using VST3 or VST2, but as far as I know, MIDI really hasn't worked right in Amplitude since 2015. And I've been asking on their forums all the time, and I don't really get much of in ways of answers. So if we're really getting VST3 MIDI fixes, that is super awesome. That's super good news. It almost takes away the terror of seeing that PACE acquired Juice. Here's the payment thing. Kind of crazy. So $130 per month, man. That is pain. So, so if you're in a pro level, whatever, yeah, ouch. But, we are paying a substantially cheaper one. But anyway, seems like everything's on a subscription now. And remember, it's supposed to make everything cheaper, and it really didn't. We have a scheduling software at the school that's like $500 a month. It's insane. And this is stuff you could have bought for $50, one-time fee back in the day. So yeah, I'm not thrilled with the subscription things, but it looks like Juice is getting better, so great. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so that is all of the juice stuff. So, and again, I get in a lot of trouble for all this stuff, but I am really disgusted by the alleged, making big scary air quotes, education out there. Again, we're talking subscriptions. We see all these, I always complain about these hype channels, these spiky haired, they got the special eyebrows and the magical sideburns, and usually they've got either they're a beardo or they got a beardo with them that confirms everything. Usually it's going to be a baseball hat wearing beardo, and but maybe there's a hipster beardo with the button up shirt that's alongside them. You need both types of beardos to really have legitimacy. So, you need the hipster beardo without the hat. Lends legitimacy to the Ed Sheeran types you got with you, and then the beardo with the baseball hat on makes sure that any of your metalcore kind of guys will take you seriously. But you also have to have the spray tan guy. He's important to both camps. That's usually the technical. I think spray tan and special sideburns means that your engineering and producing side of things. I think that's how that works. But there's piles of these things. And, most of these either seem to come from mega churches or that type of, it's kind of an American type of evangelism. It's called, I think it's the prosperity gospel. It's really based on making a whole ton of money off of your church. And it just blows my mind that they've live sound was kind of taken over by this a long time ago, but in the recording business, especially with the kinds of bands you see, yes, there's a lot of Jesus rockers in the metalcore and stuff like that, but it's just bizarre to me that it's like one type of group, and you see the same type as a multi-level marketing life coach type of people. And that's who's doing so much of this recording, again, quotes, education. You pay for this big, fat subscription, and then even after that, you go and start taking the classes, and you're bombarded with commercials. Commercials not really related to your class. Lots of upsells. I mean, if you've ever some MLM have tried to scam you before, you're probably familiar with these type of tactics. They'll use group tactics, a lot of upsells, a lot of selling the dream of selling the dream. I started like you, and you could be rich like me. And I'm there for the audio education. I don't need the commercials. I was watching one. The first 18 minutes were commercials. It wasn't even the video I bought. But it had timestamps on it. And so if I clicked the timestamp, the first one said, the beginning of the video. It actually went to another commercial, which was a minute or more of just more nonsense, upselling hype. Like, hey, I got this haircut, so I'm right. You need to buy my stuff. Really just the same mega church prosperity gospel philosophy and life coaching and MLM scam. I want to do better. I know I don't edit together as many videos as I used to do, and I don't even know if I even have a PayPal account. I don't know how to turn this into a business, but I try to be educational. I try and link other educational resources, and I know he has a subscription too, and I know he kind of sounds a little bit hypey, but I really, I'm starting to really like the Warren Hewart stuff. Go check out Produce Like a Pro. He interacts with everybody. He has I think it's like once a week, he does like a free live stream, and he really interacts with everybody. And I'm talking people who, they're sitting in the chat and aren't subscribers of his, because I know I'm not, and he answered my questions. So, go check that out. Produce Like a Pro. Obviously, Glenn Fricker has tons and tons and tons of stuff. Lots of very educational stuff. Lots of stuff that probably wasn't meant to be educational, but is extremely educational. Go check all that stuff out. But, I do eventually probably, of course I own a music school and everything. I kind of do eventually want to have some kind of series or something where it's kind of more structured and we'll teach this stuff. But I don't know. Do I want to do a subscription? Man, it just feels so grimy to me, most of this junk. Obviously it's not going to be church-based unless it's the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. But I like to, as much as I like to say I'm gear agnostic, I will try like hell to be any of that kind of agnostic too when we're teaching. The only thing is, I do care whether or not my beliefs are true. And I want to believe, as to quote some, like Matt Dillahunty, don't get mad at me for that, but I want to believe as many true things as I can and as few false things as I can. I got burned early on in my career because I believed what my recording gurus and what the Ivy League schools and all them told about magical mic preamps having these magical mystical differences, even though when you test them on a scope, they end up the same as anything else. A lot of this is my penance for me pushing all this crap on people for the first chunk of my career. I'm giving back in the form of audio skepticism, where I actually test this stuff and tell you, that what gear actually matters. You get what you pay for is not applicable to our industry, barely at all. I mean, there's obviously an upper and lower limit there, but for instance, this 20 or 30 whatever dollar DI that I tested was every bit as good as the most expensive. Actually, it's better than the most expensive DI we tested, but as good as most of the really good DIs we tested. So anyway, I do want to have an educational thing. I'd love to hear what you guys think, like how I would actually handle that. But we'll leave you with this guy, Duncan Kamakana. I don't really want to show that word on here because I'm going to get in trouble. Oh man, it's going to show up no matter what. Duncan Kamakana at duncankamakana.com has put up a set of resources for you in case you're in trouble. The Actors Fund, American Association of Independent Music, American Federation of Musicians, all kinds of stuff, Artist Relief Project. And what these are is resources for you if you're out of, of course you're always out of work as an artist, musician. For the most part, you're getting paid in exposure bucks, right? But in this case, they're finding you ways for you to get food and other things during this process. So like, for instance, Artist Relief Tree. Anyone who is an artist can request funds from the Artist Relief Tree, which plans to fulfill every request with a flat $250 on a first-come, first-served basis. The fund is currently not accepting new requests until it can secure more funding, blah, blah, blah. But it's that kind of thing. So if you're out, so here's the naughty word, naughty number music production response group. And of course, that's not their name, but I'm not allowed to say the actual words. A Facebook group meant as an open forum for constructive debate on the effects of naughty word, naughty number on music production industry professionals. According to administrators, there's nearly 4,000 members sharing news, updates, suggested actions, job opportunities, and other resources. There's a lot of resources here. Some of these will buy you food. Others are going to figure out what we can do to keep going here. So that's really cool. So that's duncankamakana.com. And so I was like, well, who the hell is Duncan Kamakana? And I know he looks like one of the, he doesn't have a beard, but he looked kind of like one of them Ed Sheeran kind of guys, right? He's got the hat and he's got the acoustic guitar and the button-up shirt, everything. But hey, man, this guy put a lot of work into bringing you these resources. And as far as I can tell, he's actually related to maybe the son, I don't know, of the guy Osorio. I think that was the name. They did that song Hawaiian Eyes. And if you you may not have heard Hawaiian music before, and this probably, maybe we wouldn't even call it Hawaiian music, but look up the song Hawaiian Eyes. I I know that started a lot of people's careers, which is kind of funny. I think that made it out of Hawaii, actually. So I think he's related to that guy. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, I mean, this guy, he really put some stuff down, man. These are some great resources. So please, you know, if you can, it looks like he has some CDs you can buy, or something. You know, I don't know if these are CDs or what. I'm gonna click on this thing. It goes to CD Baby. Oh man. Oops. Yeah, shoot. This is a broken link. Duncan, if you're listening, I think some of your links might be broken. But if you guys can help him out, he really did a solid for you. Like if you're living someplace and you got nothing and you're about to get a $250 food gift card thanks to this guy. So yeah, when you get a chance, anybody who can support this guy, Duncan Kamakana, please do. DuncanKamakana.com. Anyway, I think that's everything for me this week. I guess it's just kind of some ranty stuff on JUCE and PACE and especially the alleged education industry. But I will be... oh, yeah, you guys, please go try out Intuition. Try the demo. If you don't like it, tell me why. If you like it, tell me why. If you break it, please tell me why. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, you guys will all be okay. You know, don't be stupid. Don't be congregating. Don't destroy all the hard work that, you know, a lot of us had to shut our businesses down and had to do a lot of sacrifices in order to save, you know, not just the most valuable members of our vulnerable members of our community. Remember, perfectly healthy 21-year-olds are dying of this thing. So please keep your social distancing up. Please wear masks. Don't make fun of people that are wearing masks. Just keep going. If we can knock this thing out a little bit, they buy us some time to get us a vaccine, that would be awesome. So please keep it up. Please be okay. And please don't kill other people with your selfishness or thoughtlessness. I know none of my listeners would do that, but encourage others to do the same. We've had some crazy lapses, and let's just try to end this thing as quick as possible, and that means doing what you need to do. That means I don't get to go to the skate park, you know, but it could be a whole lot worse. So let's keep trying. Anyway, I'll see you next week. I'm gonna stop preaching at you. Goodbye.